Hello and welcome back to another Yardwork point of view video. Today I'm going to be doing a bunch of random tasks, some of which include brush removal and then pulling out vines and plants from this back portion of my yard that has been overgrown. Here's the chickens. Gotta say hi to them always. And then I'm going to be doing some leveling in the back where we're trying to grow grass. My yard not only died in the front yard, it also died in the backyard, so we pulled out all the moss and stuff from the back and have been trying to level the yard because a few years back we dropped a bunch of trees onto the yard, so it's very uneven. And now I'm just pulling out the wheelbarrow and a bunch of tools that I'm going to need for the brush removal in the back. I got my rake and some clippers, and then I'm also going to grab a shovel and another rake. I have to get the old crappy rake because the brush in the back is really thick and I'll probably damage the rake at some point. So I'm getting the old crappy one. Gotta put it all in the wheelbarrow. I also brought out a chair in case I need to rest. Didn't actually end up using it, but it's whatever. And then I'm heading over to where I'm gonna work. So this is where we've been primarily doing most of the work. It's been about a year in the making, just trying to get rid of all these, I think they're Virginia creepers or something like that have overgrown this back part of our yard. My dad's hope is to grow grass and hopefully plant some plants for flowers or something. I really want to build another fire pit back here, but everybody else seems to think that it's too close to this fence to be doable. So that might not happen, but we're gonna see. I also am hoping to hang a hammock between those two trees that you can kind of see in this clip. We've got some of those like camping hammocks that wrap around a tree and, you know, hang there like a hammock. So that's my goal, and I'm trying to clear the brush and vines up to those trees so that I can actually put the hammock out there. So as you can see here, those are some of the vines that I pull out. They stretch really far, they're everywhere. Really annoying to pull out because they are so long and woven into the ground and around other plants, so it's just a whole mess. It makes it impossible to rake as well because the rake just gets caught in the vines. Here's a really big one that I pulled out. It's kind of satisfying, not gonna lie, when you get a really long vine out of the leaves, because then you know, oh, I don't have to get that out later. Because half the time I pull out vines and they just break after like a foot. And then sometimes when you rake, you find trash. So I've been collecting the trash that I find over in this pile, and I'm gonna put that little piece of plastic there. And then I moved on to removing rocks. If we're trying to grow grass, I assume that we don't want all these rocks laying around, so I got a shovel and I'm just trying to get them out of the ground as best I can. Sorry that this footage is so shaky. Sometimes I don't realize what the camera sees when I'm working. I'm just focused on doing the task at hand, but I tried to cut out the clips that were really bad. And so I just put all these rocks in this pile because I'm gonna move them in a bit. So I take the wheelbarrow and I collect some of the rocks that I've pulled out of the ground, and I have been working on lining underneath the fence with the rocks because there's actually a fairly large gap between the ground and the bottom of the fence, and we let our chickens roam around the yard, and one time they tried to go under the fence, which was not fun. So I've just been working to kind of make this barrier to hopefully prevent them from escaping. I don't think they really want to escape. We have their treats with us. They come running back every time. And here they are, our 6 lovely ladies. So after I put those rocks underneath the fence, I decided to move on to leveling the lawn. As you can see here, I've already patched up a few places. We went and bought a bunch of bags of dirt, topsoil, the other day, and so I've just kind of been slowly but surely making my way through them. They're really heavy, they're 40 pounds. And I can't really lift all that much, but it is what it is. So I find the divots in the yard, and anywhere that it's not super level. It's kind of hard to see in this video, but you can definitely tell when you're walking through the yard that it's very uneven, especially if you're trying to push a wheelbarrow through, and it's basically like you're driving on a road in New England. That's all I can say. Endless potholes of just shaking and bumping around. But anyway, I take this rake and I level out the dirt as best as possible, and then I try stepping on it to push it and flatten it down and condense it, because Lord knows it's going to do that on its own anyway. And sometimes I use the rake and I kind of pat it down. And then I sped up this clip because it's kind of boring and long, but I basically do that for the rest of the time. Just leveling it out and patting it down. And I move on to the other places where I dumped the dirt to do the same. And I'm hoping that by doing these little patches, eventually whenever we get the grass to start growing, it will be less of a bumpy ride or walk across this part of the lawn. After I stopped filming, I ended up filling most of the rest of it in, and next week hopefully we'll be getting the grass seed down and maybe some Grub-X or fertilizer or something, and I also plan to mow the lawn. That is my favorite activity outside. Yeah. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Yardwork POV. That's the name I kind of just came up with on the fly. But anyway, if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'm hoping to get a weekly video of this series up. We'll see.